Romans is a theological treatise, a majestic summary of the Christian faith, written to Christians and to potential converts in Rome, the center and capital of the entire Roman Empire, headed by Caesar. Paul dreamed of taking his missionary gospel to Rome, but by the time Paul got to Rome, he was in chains, headed for a Roman dungeon and for execution. Because trade and travel flourished under the empire, people moved in and out of the capital. Some Christians lived in Rome, some were Jewish converts, a few were Gentile converts. They met in little house churches throughout the city. A few were Roman citizens, a few were just Gentile citizens of the empire, a few were slaves. Almost everyone spoke Greek. Now, by now, Paul saw himself as missionary to the Gentiles, an evangelist where no one had ever gone before, just like he was the first one in Philippi and first in Corinth. So Paul, in writing Romans, wants to set the stage for his hoped-for visits. But most readers overlook the key verse, Romans chapter 15, verses 23 and 24. Paul wants to travel to Rome to prepare a base of operations for his missionary work in Spain, the western end of the empire. He wants his missionary life to cover the known world. So he writes Romans, this summary of his gospel, so that the Roman congregation will know what to expect. He's laying a spiritual, theological foundation so they will know who is coming, what message he will be proclaiming, what to expect. Notice, too, all of Paul's references to friends, former colleagues, some Jewish Christians like Prisca, a nickname for Priscilla, and Aquila, who worked with him in Corinth. He's strengthening his relationships for his long-range plan. He dreams that Rome will be a support base that will send him to Spain. Now, Rome had no church buildings, of course, just like in Acts 2, when in Jerusalem, believers met in homes, devoted themselves to the apostles' teaching, to the fellowship, the breaking of bread, and to prayer, Acts 2. But who will preach his message, read his letter in the house churches of Rome? Why, Sister Phoebe, a deacon in the church, a woman. Those who forbid women in the pulpit forget Phoebe, the deacon. Paul's message is one of justification. We cannot be saved by keeping the Jewish laws or by being very good. We are made justified, made acceptable by the work of Jesus Christ, his ministry, his cross, his resurrection. We are justified in living by faith. And we live righteous lives not to win his approval, but because in love and in trust we live in him, which is perfect freedom. So all through history, people have tried to earn their salvation. Martin Luther by zealous work as a monk, John Wesley by being a missionary to Georgia. But Paul in Romans tells us that we will be justified, saved, set free by a surrendering trust in Christ. A justifying work of God that gives us the freedom to love and to serve. Luther and Wesley learned that. Romans, the greatest letter Paul ever wrote, did not prepare his way to Spain. He never got there. He died a Roman prisoner. But he gave the world a composite message of salvation, which is a foundation stone of Christian belief and practice.